fellas, if you got one of these or one of these, or do a lot of this, or especially if you have one of these, you probably end up with a whole lot of this. So I tried to come up with a nice eco-friendly, not that I'm a big ecologist, but I do hate good hardwood sawdust to go to waste, especially when I work in a cold garage like my son-in-law Nathan. So what do we do with all this sawdust? I call it my cozy burrito. Look at that. What a piece of work. It's nothing but sawdust, wax, and some recycled paper. And I'll show you how I made it. I found one of these hanging in my wife's kitchen. She probably doesn't need it. Decided that it would be perfect to melt my wax in. We'll see how hard it is to snap off these handles. Don't need them. Put them in the vise. Bust them off. Perfect. So I'm going to have to put a little wire handle on this to dip it into the wax and back. So I need to put a couple little holes in this measuring cup. Whoop. Nice. Now I'll make them a little bit bigger so I can get that wire hanging in there. All right, not off to a bad start. Got to get this finished before my wife sees it. Now we will need to put some holes in the bottom because we'll be dipping this into the wax, pulling it up. The wax needs to rain down onto the wood chips. I found this thing hanging in the shower. There's nothing in it but shampoo and soap and stuff, so I took that stuff out and thought this is going to be a perfect rack for me to be able to set my wax melter on. All right, so we got this in the vise, and we'll just take off here what we don't need. Excuse the sound. Okay, so I took a piece of 4-inch PVC pipe I had laying around. I like to use junk I got laying around the house and the garage rather than going out and buying something. Took the wire rack that we've got cut down into place so that it sits over the pipe well. I'm going to put that on top of a sterno, which you can get by the dozen at Sam's Club. They're pretty cheap. And then I've got a can of wax that will go into more detail in a little bit. This empty paint can is ridiculously overpriced at Days Hardware, but it's nice because it's got a thin bottom and it's nice and clean if you just want to use wax in it. So let's get that sterno burning. And it won't take too long before we get this wax nice and pourable. Well, I had some design issues with my first try on my little PVC pipe. The sterno got too close, and and got cooked. You need to have a pretty good sized flame on that sterno to melt the wax. So I went to a new and improved setup with a sterno, high wick, high flame, far enough away from the wood. You got a little rack there that my wife graciously donated from her shower. And I also originally tried to use more of that rack, cut off a little piece for a handle, but as I used that, when pulling it out of the wax can, it was too tipsy, so it ended up spilling wax. And if there's anything worse than spilled wax on your workbench, it's spilled wax in your shorts. So you don't want to do that. Let's try this one. Yeah, I know it's butt ugly, but you know what? My wife will never recognize her measuring cup. So I've got four. Won't tip on me when I'm trying to pull it out. I went ahead and drilled 4 holes into the bottom. And what we're going to do is, when this is wax, we're just going to run this up and down the sawdust to get it fully waxed. So our wax is melting here, and we'll be in business. Now you can buy these bags of flaked soy wax. Make sure you get it 100% pure. You do not want paraffin. Paraffin is not safe for inside burning. Soy wax is clean and will burn nicely, but you don't want to use too much of this because it melts and you will get kind of a waxy smell if you're burning too much wax in your fireplace or if it's not hot enough. And again, you don't need too much when you're pouring it on the burrito, the cozy burrito. So I take this little half-gallon bucket, fill it up with sawdust, and pour about half of it onto these sheets of paper. Now the paper is 100 recycled, clean, thin, almost like tissue paper. And I spread the sawdust out on it before I pour the wax on it and roll it up. Now I know you're probably thinking, oh, I know where he got this idea, but no, I don't do that. All right, our wax is totally melted now. So we'll take our little applicator, dip it down in there. The wax fills up from the bottom. Gonna pick it up and just let this wax pour all over the sawdust. You don't need a lot. Okay, there's 3 that I did in about 5 minutes. I just used a couple thin sheets. Obviously the wax soaks through. You want to let that harden up. The wax is there obviously to kind of hold all the sawdust together. That's all you want to do. You want to be burning a sawdust log, not a wax log. So what I do is, when I know that those are nice, that the wax is cooled and it's firmer, I get one more sheet of paper and I wrap them up, put a little sticker on it, and they are ready to toss into the wood burner in my workshop, or even as a fire starter in home.